lastly, we spoke on how to successfully train. So today, I think this should be the third. Okay, this is the second point I said I was able to note after listening to the first lesson. So the second one is ability to face conditions. That is, you need to develop the ability to face conditions that arise from you training your mind. So that is what I'm going to be talking about right now. That is developing the ability to face conditions that arise from you training your mind. So, like we know, your mind is something that you've relaxed on. It has been used to, let me say, dormancy or idleness, but now you want to train it. So it is obvious that there will be a change about things. That since there will be a change, there are conditions that is attached to these changes. So ability to face conditions that arise from you training your mind. Firstly, you need to be flexible enough to face situations that arises from every actions you take. You must be flexible enough to face any situation. You must be flexible enough to face any happenings that occurs every moment you take action. You must always be willing. You must always be ready. You must always be ready to be responsible for your actions. So by so doing, having that at the back of your mind, firstly, we make you to have this sense of responsibility. That since you want to train your mind, whatever the conditions may be, you need to adapt to it. So that's the first thing you need to do. You must be flexible enough to face situation that arises from every action you take. Secondly, since you are training your mind and you are looking forward to success, you are looking forward to be successful about it, you should also use the opportunity to have at the back of your mind that you must face any conditions that arise. So since training your mind, treading a new path is compulsory, must be a success, then what will accompany the success, what will bring about the success is you having it in mind that you must face and accept every conditions and adapt to every condition that arise from the decision you're taking. Thirdly, you need to implement and initiate the power of decision. You can't rightly decide when you have no clue of what decision is. So in order for you to face conditions that arises, you need to implement and initiate the power of decision. It takes decision to say, since I want to be successful about this, I must do this. So you must be willing. We are still going to talk about that. Power of decision. How you initiate it, how you implement it. So you need to implement and initiate the power of decision. That is, you must be decisive. You must be decisive about it. Make your decision. And remember, it is never a decision until you act. It is never a decision until the very moment you start acting. So what makes it a decision is your action. You need to get yourself ready to face and endure the new lifestyle you're going to be experiencing, the ups and downs. It takes readiness. It needs you to be aware. You need to create this awareness to go on your head that, oh, there is a new life ahead. I want a new change. I want growth. So there is a new life ahead of me. I need to adapt to. So by getting yourself ready, by educating yourself, by exercising yourself on that, by doing that, you are making yourself ready. You are making yourself available. You are making yourself flexible enough to adapt to that lifestyle. And before you know it, the ups and downs will become bearable to you because of what? Before you start facing it, you have been reminding yourself. Before you start facing it, you keep reminding yourself that this is the kind of lifestyle. I'm going to change the way I live. I'm going to change the way I use my time. So whatever condition arise, since I've been saying it to myself since the past 1 year, since I've been saying it to myself, since I keep repeating it to myself since the past 6 months, whatever condition arise, I must not turn back. So by doing that, we start seeing that you are able to face those conditions. You need to let the sweet memories of your old times to be less remembered by you. Yes. This is where you start working. This is where you start. This is where you start uh, curbing the power of your emotions. This is where you start curbing the power of your thinking. You need to let go of the sweet memories your whole times have bring. You need to let go of it completely. Let the sweet memories of your whole time to be less remembered by you. The moment you remember it, try to get out of that imagination. And before you know it, you start seeing no reason why you should remember or go back to it. That's number 5. You need to quickly cast out the pleasure that your whole time brings then, or the pleasure it brings whenever you remember them. Cast them out. Oh, while I was playing game with Kelvin, we had this. The moment you start seeing it back, there will always be a connection between you and your whole time, and before you know it, you start seeing that you are not competent enough, you are not bold enough to walk out of your old life to a new life. So if you must experience a new life, if you must have a new life, then you need to cast off every pleasure that your whole life brings. And before you know it, you start changing. You start seeing it that whatever the case may be, I need to do it. Whatever the case may be, I have to do it. Number 7, you need to stay away from things. You need to avoid things happening that could make you reconsider going back. Yes, there are some things that when you do them, will make you reconsider that, let me go back. There are some thinkings that will come to your head, and the next thing you could think of is, I need to go back. I need to contact James. Oh, David, my old friend. Oh, we need to talk. So whatever the happenings, try to avoid them. Because the moment you start considering going back, your mind is already going back. It is just your physical body that is not going back. And the moment your mind has started going back, your mind has started going back, there is nothing you can do about it. You will carry all your own self back to that former life. You need to start seeing the latter results of the reason why you train your mind now. Yes. You need to start seeing the latter results. You need to start seeing it. Start viewing it. If I could train myself, if I could tread this path successfully, this is what I'm going to gain. If you start having that vision, if you start having it, before you know it, you start seeing a reason that I need to keep pushing. I need to keep moving. Regardless of the kind of loneliness I feel, I need to keep moving. I need to keep pushing. So start seeing the latter results of your training from now. Start visioning it. Start picturing yourself in that future. And before you know it, you are treading it perfectly. You are treading that path. Fine. You need to see the process as something you must do if you must rise. Yes. It is kind of related to number 2. You need to create a connection between that process and your success. If you can't afford to be alone, to do something that is different, then while you are with others, there will be no reason for you to be outstanding. So developing the ability to adapt to the conditions that arise from you training your mind is something is a process you should see if you must rise through the ranks. And lastly, you must try all your possible best to link this process. You must try all your possible best to link this act to pleasure. Something you must be happy about. Try to link it to pleasure. And before you know it, start changing. Even though it is in no way related to pleasure, but start linking it to something that will make you happy. Start linking it to something that will make you glad. And before you know it, your perspective will start changing from bad to good, and from good to better. And the more you start to repeat, the more you repeat the process, the more you're mastering. Because repetition is the key to mastery. So keep repeating it. Never be tired of that process. Training yourself. So this is going to be the end for this. Remember, this is just the second point I'm emphasizing on. I think I'm still having one more. Thank you guys.